All right, so I want to talk about protein. We've talked about carbohydrates, we've talked about timing of those carbohydrates, and I want to talk about the importance of protein. I think uh, it's a big deficiency. We typically underutilize protein. Protein is the most dense, most complicated macro you can take in because protein is made up of micronutrients, which are amino acids. And those amino acids, each individual amino acid, so there's, I believe, 21 amino acids and 13 essential amino acids. So your body produces certain amino acids out of a combination of others, but there's certain ones that you have to get from an external source, ideally animal protein. These amino acids are not found in the same combinations with different foods. So when you hear plant protein or you hear, like you can get all your protein from broccoli or beans and rice in this combination, what they're talking about is just the whole amount of protein. So 20 grams of protein from broccoli is not the same amount of 20 grams of protein from a meat. They contain different amounts of amino acids. These EAAs, these essential amino acids, are things that your body cannot create, and it needs to get a certain amount to create certain bodily functions. So, protein in Greek stands for priority. Protein is the priority. It doesn't mean a priority. Priority is one thing. You focus on one thing, and that is what protein really stands for in nutrition because it has healthy fats integrated into it. If you get animal protein, it has all the vitamins and minerals that you really need, especially when you get organ meats intermixed with this. So liver, heart are a great combination to add in with ground beef to just like kind of integrate it into your routine for nutrition. But ground beef, chicken, dark meat chicken, turkey, pork, eggs. These are all good sources. Fish, right? Wild salmon, wild tuna. All these things are good sources of animal protein. They contain the essential amino acids in the combination that you need to be the highest amount of testosterone, the most driven man possible, the strongest and the most resilient individual that you can be. So, when we go into the micronutrients of protein, they're amino acids, and specifically leucine, isoleucine, and valine, which are the BCAAs that you hear about, the branch chain amino acids. These three are what animal protein is superior in. And the reason why BCAAs are so important is because it triggers or turns the knob genetically in your body to grow muscle and to retain muscle. So there's the more protein you get in, the higher that knob turns on, which means that you're more anabolic, which means that you're more testosterone driven. It means you're going to recover and build more muscle. And that's going to lead to more insulin sensitivity. It's going to lead to less inflammation. It's going to lead to more energy retention. You're going to be able to hold on to the energy more because muscle holds on to energy and utilizes it more. Body fat tends to create more inflammation and loses energy, right? So this is a muscle versus body fat, and quality protein is defined as having all those essential amino acids and the branch chain amino acids in an amount that is going to make you very anabolic and very growth bodied. I'm going to call it. We know about growth minded, right? But growth bodied is like where you're just your body's anabolic and it's going to grow muscle and retain muscle. And so this is specifically around muscle, like your bicep, your quads, your chest, your back, that type of muscle. Where people kind of get distorted is like I've heard myths of, you know, uh, eating too much protein can cause other organs which have muscle in them, like the heart, to enlarge, and that's not the case. We're focused specifically on what's called skeletal muscle, so the quads, the biceps, your back, all those things. BCAAs in a certain amount increase the growth and retention of those muscles. And another little fact here is one of the best predictors of health and longevity is muscle mass. So somebody who has more muscle mass is going to recover from cancer, surgery, severe burns, they are going to recover faster from those injuries than somebody who has less muscle mass. Somebody is going to live longer and have a better quality of life, less injury, less pain, if they have more muscle mass. So this is really not just an aesthetic type of thing. This is really your ability to serve, protect, and provide, and to be the best version of yourself that you can, and to live the best life that you can. So part of this equation nutritionally is prioritizing protein. So back to those BCAAs. When you take in a certain amount of quality protein, 30 grams, 40 grams, 50 grams of animal protein, you're getting a high dose of those BCAAs, which trigger genetically your body's ability to preserve and build muscle protein, to build that skeletal muscle. So that's going to lead to more muscle mass, which provides the benefits I just mentioned. So animal protein, quality protein, is superior to all other forms of protein. Plant protein, I wouldn't even consider as a form of protein. Like, that doesn't equate to your meal in terms of protein. What I would say is if you got 50, 40 grams, at bare minimum 30 grams of protein on your plate, you're getting a good dose of those BCAAs to trigger that response in the body. If you want to look more into it, it's called mTOR, M-T-O-R, and that is the genetic activation or mechanism that activates muscle protein synthesis. Muscle protein synthesis meaning creating muscle, building muscle. And when you activate that mechanism over time, so breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you're basically getting a constant growth pattern of this muscle protein synthesis, this muscle growth. If you miss a meal, it's not necessarily detrimental per se, but over the macro, over weeks, months, and years, you're combating against stress. You're combating against life. You're combating against all the other things that are happening, age and etc. Break muscle down. So eating consistently over time, healthy foods, good protein is going to keep you on a positive growth curve to maintain and build muscle over time, regardless of age. So it's important to prioritize protein at every meal that you have. It's important to have those windows to keep that protein synthesis, that growth mechanism in your genes constantly spiked. Because when you eat a bolus amount of 50 grams of protein, or 40 grams of protein, or 30 grams of protein, whatever you can stomach properly to where you feel like you're not stuffing yourself full, but you're satiated, 80% full, you're going to be elevating the blood concentration of those BCAAs and those other essential amino acids, which are just as important, but the BCAAs activate the mechanism, and then the mechanism utilizes other essential amino acids to help build and construct everything else as well. So this also has to do with neurotransmitters and brain chemistry. It has to do with hormones. It has to do with immune function, gut function, everything. It's not just isolated to muscle, but look at muscle as your health savings account. And if you're living paycheck to paycheck, you're going to be stressed. But if you have a savings account, you can afford to have a rainy day. You have a rainy day fund. You have an ability to be able to spend it on things that you like. And that's what muscle is really to the body. So when you have an excess amount in a healthy manner, that's going to prolong your health and better your life. So the protein, having it morning, noon, and at night, keeps that system growth orientated and keeps your metabolism running hot too. So your body's going to be turning through all the nutrients that you're taking in more effectively, absorbing those nutrients more effectively, retaining energy more, as opposed to when you do a lot of fasting and low protein, you tend to lose energy. And what happens when you lose energy? You get inflamed, you get fat, you get hormone imbalance, and all these other issues. So keep that all in mind when it comes to protein and how important it is to the overall goal and of optimizing testosterone, hormones, body composition, sleep, immune system function, heart health, brain health. All these things are all interconnected with quality protein. So that's it for protein. Hopefully this gave you value. Rewatch the video just to retain this information and utilize it. And as always, ask questions if you have anything in relation to this. Look forward to seeing you on the next module. Take care.